What is it like to be a kid in today's world of adolescence? What is it like to walk in their shoes? Some things have changed over the last 27 years that I've worked with kids, and some things at the core remain the same. What remains the same are the basic needs of kids who are asking, who am I? Where do I belong? Do I matter somewhere? Am I powerful? Can I make an impact on this world? Knowing who you are is important because it provides both a comfortable home base and an internal compass for navigating through life. Privileged kids, like most of the kids we work with, are trained to see themselves as the elite and therefore are under far greater pressure to live up to the external expectations and agendas than other adolescents their age. Under the surface, kids are attempting to discover who they are in a world that defines them by externals, such as, are you a good athlete? Are you a good student? Do you drive a cool car? Do you have the right clothes? Kids today are not defined by their character, but by the possessions they have and other people's perceptions of them. There is no internal self-development since all their energy is being used to cultivate external perceptions. All of this leads to kids feeling a lot of pressure to fit in, pressure to perform, and pressure to excel, which ultimately leads to isolation. In dealing only with externals, the cost for kids becomes growing up, not knowing how to answer the "who am I" question. Kids are also asking the question, do I belong? Do I matter? Kids need to know that they are loved and appreciated, not for what they can contribute, but for who they are. The last question kids are asking is, do I make an impact? Do I have power to be a world changer? Kids are trying to figure out where they fit in the world and if they can make a difference.
So before my life with Jesus, I was kind of like a shy and lonely girl, and I didn't really have many friends. But all I really cared about was popularity and being pretty and being the teacher's pet. But I never really thought too deep into that. That was just kind of my way of fitting in. So I never really felt like I mattered to others or like I fit in because I was always so caught up in drama and fights with my friends. But I always felt safe at home with my family. Even when my parents got divorced, it went pretty smoothly and it didn't really affect me too much.
So my parents went through a divorce and that was rough on the family for sure. And I was confused kinda, and I was really angry all the time or depressed. And when I got mad, I got really mad. Oftentimes I'd come home from school and I would just go sit in my room and be by myself, and I put on a front for my friends and family, and I didn't talk to anybody because I didn't feel like I could. And the way I dealt with it is that I kind of internalized it, and then eventually I would snap, and that's where the anger would come out. And one time I even got so mad I hit a wall so hard I broke both of my hands, and that was a pretty low point for me. I put my family through a lot.
So before I met Jesus, I was very obsessed with just the vanity of high school and being really pretty and skinny and going to the gym all the time and just having the nicest clothes and driving the nicest car and just feeling really down on myself because I wasn't the coolest girl in school and all the boys didn't love me.
I grew up in a home with 4 siblings and a mom and dad who absolutely loved each other when I was younger. I was a daddy's girl all the way, and when I was about 7, my parents started to disagree a lot, and it was just a really hard, painful place for me to be. I just remember my parents constantly fighting and God really never being there. After I lost my dad through a divorce from my parents, I began looking for love through something else, and I found myself in a relationship when I was 14 years old, and after being with him for short months, 3 months, I found myself pregnant with his child. I was completely lost, alone. I didn't know what to do. I not only lost this one person that I felt loved me, I also gained this little being that I had no idea what to do with. And from that point, I kind of realized that this baby's gonna be my everything, and I'm gonna revolve my world around her.
So I met Jesus about a year and a half ago, and my girlfriend at the time went to Young Life camp at Castaway, and she came back and showed me all the pictures and everything, and I was pretty moved by it. And then that year I started going to club, and my relationship with Jesus really took off when I went to snow camp for the first time, and it was definitely one of the best weekends of my life. And ever since then, my relationship has just grown and grown and grown with him, and I see him every day in everything I do and everything around me, and just every day is a gift.
A month before my daughter was due, I was invited to Young Lives, and it was really nerve-wracking at first because I didn't really know what it was, and I was like, what is this? I don't know about religious stuff, that's weird. And I kind of was just like, whatever, if I hate it, I don't have to go again. And so I just showed up, and literally everyone was like, hey, Aaron, welcome, and I was felt this peace, and it was super crazy because I hadn't felt that for a long time. And at that club, they invited me to go to Young Life camp in Lost Canyon, Arizona. I was sitting in the Lost Canyon lawn, and I looked up to God, and I was like, wow, how do I pray? How do I talk to you? I'm doing this wrong. And I just kind of took a deep breath and just said, just talk to him. He'll listen. That was the first time I had ever connected to God, and I just started bawling my eyes out. And I was I came back and I was like, guys, I met God, it was him, I know it. And leaving camp, I was just this little soul on fire.
I started following Jesus this past summer at Malibu camp.
And after I went to Malibu and I was, I had my phone taken away for 9 days, and I was like, wow, when you have your phone taken away and you're not looking at everyone's Snapchat stories and you don't have intense FOMO, you realize I am worth it, and that God created me, and that he made me the way I am for a reason, and I look the way I do for a reason, and that I have a purpose on planet Earth, and that all of what car you drive and how skinny you are, it really doesn't matter in the long run. And it's really more about connecting with God and other people overall. Me before and after getting to know Jesus is just being a lot more confident and secure with myself.
So after I met Jesus, the first thing I noticed that changed was my perspective, because it really it gave me a viewpoint of how my problems were, how significant they were, and I took responsibility for my anger and depression, and I was able to really tackle it that way and move through it. And it seems, after meeting Christ, it just seems like a whole different world, and it doesn't dominate my life anymore, where I just used to have this rage that it controlled a big portion of my life.
Now that I have a life with Jesus, people think of me as a loud, confident, happy girl. People close to me say I'm full of energy, and I now feel like I can be myself and not who others want me to be. I now feel like I fit in and matter to others more. Because of that, I found worth in myself.
God has changed me completely. He has healed me from depression. He has healed me from the pain of a really horrible breakup with my daughter's father. He has made me feel even though I don't have a father, he is my father, and that I belong to him and that he loves me. I went from being a depressed, lonely, sad teen mom to a confident, brave, young mom.
And going to camp and being at club always makes me feel safe, because I know that I can rely on my wildlife leaders to help me when life gets rough.
When I found out I was pregnant, I was a freshman in high school, literally only 1 month into school, and I was a cheerleader. I was popular, I had a lot of friends, and that just came to a complete stop that second that I heard that you're pregnant. And my world kind of just shattered. I'm all by myself. And for the 8 months between when I found out I was pregnant and I started Young Lives, I was seriously so vulnerable. When I walked into Young Lives, I realized, wow, there are other teen moms out there. There are other moms who care about teen moms out there. And I finally felt like I did belong. I feel extremely accepted when I come to Young Life. It's my one happy place.
I feel like there's like a lot of people I can turn to, like Dave, my Young Life leader, Chad, any of the Young Life leaders, any person in Young Life. They're all really, really nice. I am liking who I'm turning into, and I love the people that are around me, and they hype me up, and they're always there for me, and I know they have my back, so that means a lot.
So yeah, it's really easy to get wrapped up in like all of that stuff and get really down on yourself if you're not, like all the other people at the school. It's incredibly hard to feel like you fit in. And so I think like coming to know God has really like helped me realize that all of that stuff is like so surface level. Even if you don't have like your closest friends, like you have God and you'll always have God, and like I don't know, it really gives you like a sense of, okay, I don't drive like the coolest car ever, but like that doesn't mean that I'm just like worthless. And that sounds so dumb, but like it's so true, like in this community and especially at my high school, like that stuff really matters, and it's socially like what the deal is. So like having a place to go like Young Life is like, it's a lot different to where it's not all obsessed with, all this surface level stuff.
I feel like I'm making a difference by inviting others to wildlife and leading them towards Jesus, just like I got to experience 2 years ago when I went to summer camp and got a fresh start with Jesus. And I want to help others experience that too. I hope that someday people can look up to me just like I can look up to my wildlife leaders.
When I came to Christ, I realized how much power I do have in this world. I think I absolutely do play a huge part in a lot of people's lives at this point. Like, I can make a difference, and I do make a difference. I go to school at Options, and I meet teen moms and make them come to Young Lives, force them to come to Young Lives. I come to Young Lives and I talk to girls, and I'm a MOPS head leader, and I feel like I belong, and I feel like I do make a difference in the world. And I've actually seen girls come to Christ through my actions, which is really cool.
I think that God has really shown me to that all of that little stuff does matter, and so being nicer to somebody is actually super important. And even making the small effort to live through Jesus and try and it doesn't mean running around telling everyone to follow God, but it kind of living in his footsteps and being I'm gonna be nice to this girl who maybe doesn't have very many friends or whatever. Maybe I'm gonna let this girl come in my friend group or whatever. It matters so much, and you don't think it does, but obviously it does.
I always pray that I can be used as a tool for God. I really want to help people just because I've been there, and I've been down, and I know what it's like to be just kind of on the outside, or what that feels like. And student leading for me is such a great way to do that, because it gives me a real place that I can do it, and a direction that I can point to and say hey, if you need it, come with me, let's go to Young Life.
In Littleton Young Life, we are helping kids answer all three of these basic questions of adolescence. Every week, our team of 58 leaders and staff go out to the schools, and we walk in the shoes of kids. We walk where they walk, the hallways, the gyms, the playing fields. We build bridges of friendship. We hurt when they hurt, and we celebrate with them when things are going well. But ultimately, we have the privilege of telling kids about Jesus, and he is the one who helps them answer all three questions. Who am I? You are a beloved child of God, made in his image. That internal knowledge changes their external answers they once defined themselves by. Do I belong? Yes, you belong at Young Life. You are unconditionally loved and accepted there, and ultimately you belong to Jesus and the family of God. No greater place to belong. Do I make an impact? Oh yes, your life can now be used to change all of those lives around you. You now can invite your friends to club, camp, and campaigners where they can learn and receive what you did. You can become the person who changes your school or your family. You can be a wildlife leader or a student leader. Opportunities for impact are endless.